Imagine a society organized as a human ranch. The population is monitored and managed as sedated livestock by an arrogant administrative hierarchy. The sanitarium acts as the hub for this control. It is a massive psychiatric facility designed to permanently drug anyone who questions the system, ensuring the population remains docile. This sterile blue flowchart illustrates the mechanics of their compliance model. The state keeps the masses addicted to a digital outrage cycle on their devices, which triggers automated chemical sedation spikes to manage their anxiety, feeding directly back into perfect compliance metrics. Digital rebellion is a dead end. Because the state's algorithms are flawless and its surveillance is total, the hyper-modern matrix is invincible to anyone attempting to hack it from a computer terminal. The ruling class, the 13 Bloodlines, lives far from these medicated cities. They reside in sovereign preserves, pristine, zero-tech havens kept free of electromagnetic fields. They hoard the unpoisoned earth for themselves. This high-contrast map visualizes the elite's weather warfare operation. They'll trigger a catastrophic earthquake along the New Madrid fault line using strategic blast zones. The Great Lakes will drain southward, engulfing the sanitarium, while the sovereign preserves remain safely above water. The elites are resetting the earth to wipe the board clean. The sedated masses in the human ranch are sitting directly inside a designated blast zone, unaware the water is coming. Resistance begins with the invisible. Lenny is a 56-year-old janitor at the sanitarium who has spent decades doing industrial labor. He carries an oversized iron wrench and operates with the direct backing of Archangels. These entities use divine subversion. Angelic auras interact with the physical world to instantly dissolve synthetic inhibitors in the bloodstream and scramble the state's surveillance artificial intelligence into white noise. Lenny uses this spiritual grace to execute a quiet rebellion. With a single cup of water, he detoxes Wilford Brimley, a patient whose mind had been chemically erased by the system. Wilford wakes up with a sharp intellect. He immediately turns the sanitarium's own psychological profiles and internal data against the warden, becoming Lenny's chief lieutenant on the inside. The administrative state was so focused on digital threats that it ignored the spiritual. This blind spot allowed Lenny to build a stealth network of awakened souls right under the warden's nose. While the state monitors every digital signal, Ronnie Isaac moves through the blind spots. Ronnie is a 56-year-old pizza delivery driver who uses this 1972 Ford Pinto wagon, which has a cargo structure ideal for hiding modified payloads. Ronnie's Pinto functions as a Trojan horse, wrapped in copper mesh, housing a hidden Faraday cage, an enclosure used to block electromagnetic fields. The car can go dark and drop off the grid instantly. On his delivery routes, Ronnie uses analog seismic gauges taped to his wrist. Because they operate outside the digital matrix, he can track the fault line stress and atmospheric sabotage the elites are causing without being detected. In a world of unhackable algorithms, repurposed analog junk is the only technology capable of movement that the system cannot see. Tess operates in the mental spaces the state considers broken. She lives entirely off the algorithmic grid, managing a mind shaped by severe complex PTSD and a chaotic boardroom of voices. Tess hyperfocuses to turn her condition into an OSINT supercomputer. OSINT, or Open Source Intelligence, is the analysis of data gathered from publicly available records and information. Her research maps the connections between sanitarium shell companies, pharmaceutical supply chains, and military black sites. She successfully linked these entities to a joint Navy and MIT weather warfare operation. The sanitarium was built to suppress human neurodivergence. By attempting to break these minds, the system accidentally forged the analytical weapon needed to uncover its own apocalyptic plans. These two worlds intersect at the sanitarium's loading dock. Ronnie delivers a pizza box containing a burnt piezoelectric detonator, a device that creates an electric spark when physical pressure is applied to a crystal. The timeline collapses, the elites trigger the New Madrid fault line, and massive floodwaters of dark sludge and debris violently crash into the city streets. Lenny's mission shifts to a mass exodus. Ronnie's EMP-proof Pinto, which is shielded against the electromagnetic pulses that have disabled the city's power, becomes a battering ram to break the patients out of the flood zone. Survival depends on an alliance of the very addicts and outcasts the state tried to erase. Their combined grit allows them to navigate the rising waters. The survivors invade the sovereign preserves. They bring the mud and kinetic energy of the outer world into the pristine, hyper-saturated green of the elite havens. In this zero-tech environment, the pampered elites are defenseless. They face a militia of people whose bodies and minds have already survived the worst industrial and chemical punishments the world has to offer. The aftermath of the war is quiet. A small Pekingese dog rests in an artisan hammock inside a conquered lodge, acting as a mascot for a world where the digital, hyper-vibrating nightmare has finally stopped. Freedom wasn't found by outcomputing the state's technology. It was won through the physical and spiritual endurance of the meek, who chose to violently inherit the earth.